Hi everyone, welcome back to Woman Carrying Man. I'm Jake, this is Nadia, this is Buddy, this is Sedona, and today we watched Weird, the Al Yankovic story, starring Daniel Radcliffe.
Non-spoiler.
Non-spoilers. I thought it was really good. I like musical biopic parodies. I like musical biopics too, but there's been like just a deluge of musical biopics, and this just came at a right time. I wouldn't even say it was necessarily great. I think it does a lot of things other like parody biopics do. And, maybe it could have been shorter, but I thought that overall, like the beginning and the end were fantastic. Checking out for fun cameos were great. And it was just, it was stupid and it was fun. And I don't know, it was kind of like a feel-good movie, I think, because it was just like innocent fun. And I really liked it. What did you think?
So what would you rate it though?
Like one of my favorite comedies is Hot Rod, of course. And I'd give that a 10 out of 10. And in the world of like comedy films like that, I would give this like a 7.
Okay. If you give it a 7, I give it a 6.224.
Very weirdly specific. Why is that?
Well, because I like a lot of the film, I like the humor and everything else. I didn't really like the whole Madonna aspect for it as much.
Oh, okay. Why?
Well, I kind of felt like it was a little sexist.
But I thought that was the point. I thought it was kind of a parody of musical biopics, kind of taking that perspective, how there's kind of usually the bad influence, the character, that just like ruins the person's life.
And that's why I liked the beginning of it, but then I didn't think it wasn't like the best executed. I felt like it kind of honed in on that a little bit too much.
I mean, it was very obvious, but I mean,
of course
it's not a subtle movie. It's very just broad, and I think part of it is like it's more fun when you're like familiar with that like era of music. If there were like Madonna references or whatever, I don't really know. I thought where they took the story was really fun. I liked jokes that were just really great. And I thought Daniel Radcliffe did a really good job and his performance was great. I thought Evan Rachel Wood, who played Madonna, was really good. I
thought everyone did a really good job. And I really loved the sense of humor. I especially love the parental relationship.
Yeah.
That he had with just the over exaggeration of his life. It felt like weirdly relatable how we all feel like misunderstood some point or another by our parents, and I love the bluntness of what like a person thinks they think their parents think of them, and I really love the ending.
Yes,
I thought that was really fun. I just think it's rare to have like a biopic parody portrayed this way,
especially written by the person who it's about. It's like, you can't really think of another person who could pull this off. I think in such a, I don't know, maybe like famous comedians who could probably do that. I'm sure Conan O'Brien could do something similar, and you kind of see this in like short form. I actually think that this movie started out as a short on College Humor that they made. And they expanded it, and I guess Roku gave them the money. Oh, yeah, it's on Roku, by the way. If you have a Roku box, it's free, just with a ton of ads. Like, I swear.
Maybe that's why I gave it, like, such a weird rating.
I feel like I would have enjoyed it more if there weren't 2-minute long Roku ads at least, like, 6 or 7 times in the movie.
Well, it just kind of takes
you out. It's not a long movie. Yeah.
It takes you out of the humor, which is a little frustrating.
Kind of ruins the joke, yeah.
Yeah, because you're like really into it, then you're just waiting for the ad to be done, and oh my God, we live in such a weird world because back in my day,
we're complaining about watching a free movie.
Yeah, exactly.
That just came out.
Yeah, exactly. And then but I felt like some of the ads did kind of weirdly give me like, I know it's not supposed to make or break the film for me, but it did influence it for sure because I wasn't like 100% in the movie. It broke me out of it.
Yeah, I'm sure if we watched this in a theater with a bunch of people, I'm sure it'd be so fun.
I'm sure I would have rated it 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Well, especially in theater, you're kind of like having a vibe going on.
Well, yeah. I mean, and I think this would play great with an audience because it has like just so many great moments and great cameos. And it's just such a fun movie that I feel like it's better to watch. It's not the kind of movie you want to watch at home on your laptop You know, it's you want to watch with a bunch of people, but I mean, it still works. It's still fun, and I mean, Al Yankovic plays one of the business executives, which was great. There's Conan O'Brien cameos as Andy Warhol. Jack Black has, I mean, Rainn Wilson. I mean, there's tons of like comedy legends in this, and I think it was kind of like them coming together because they love Al Yankovic so much. I mean, from everything I've seen, he seems like a great person, and everyone likes working with him. Testament to like his career doing so well, doing parody songs, you know, over all these years. I think that part of it is because he seems like a great person to work with, and people like to work with him. And Daniel Radcliffe is just...
I must commend him for his role on this, because I didn't think he could really do comedy until I saw him in this role.
He's funny, yeah.
He's really funny.
He was in Miracle Workers.
Mm-hmm. That's true, but I didn't think he was as
Swiss
good
Army Man,
in there, but yeah. I really liked him in this. I will say that what I really liked about the film is the vibe of it being feel good at the same time, like over exaggerating the parts of the main character's life.
Making fun of show business, yeah.
Making fun of show business, but also like I like how it didn't really focus on the struggle of the music business, I guess to say. It was more so making fun of artistry and self-inflicted doubts and perception that you want to portray. I also liked how, and I'll get into the spoiler section, but there's this specific scene in the third act, I would say, that I really thought was profound in a weird way.
Oh.
So, yeah. But I really liked how it didn't take itself seriously. Obviously, it's a parody, but...
Well, there was a kind of sweetness to it. But
I was just going to say...
It wasn't mean. Like, it was not mean-spirited at all.
No. But there is some type of, like... At the same time, there is some type of message behind it, I felt. And so I thought it had a really good balance. And I really like how out of place it was. Can we get into spoilers so I can just like stop talking metaphorically and then just actually say it?
All right. Okay. So I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. You're giving it a 6.224. Mm-hmm. And but I think we both say that we recommend it, especially if you like Weird Al. And it's a fun biopic parody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Speaking of in the spoiler section, how I'm saying how I like that how things didn't fit, which fit, is I like how at the end he's like peeing on stage. While he's getting like acceptance right before he gets like assassined.
Yeah.
and then it turns into like a drug deal movie of him like killing Pablo, like a great drug dealer.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, like there is a snippet at the end of the film where it turns into a zombie film because he haunts
well,
Madonna.
it's the ending of Carrie.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I mean. These are all different genres that all come together, and it weirdly fits.
Yeah, I mean, there's a point where it turns into just like a Rambo movie where he's going into the jungle to go kill Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Madonna. I mean, the whole Madonna stuff. I think the Madonna stuff worked because it was just so over the top. Like Madonna's just trying to use him to like. It's funny because she's trying to use him to do a parody of her song so that it does better in the charts, and it's just, I love that. I love the whole Eat It thing where it's like, I'm going to write an original song called Eat It. They're like, yeah, totally, this is totally original. And then Michael Jackson writes a parody, like.
And then I love how he's like, oh my, now everyone's going to think Michael Jackson wrote it first. Yeah. And I really like that. I also love how in the beginning of the film, how the dad was very straight up, like, and the mom, both of them, his parents were very much like, we decided we don't want you to be yourself.
Yeah.
And I like how at the end when he finally has a resolution with his dad, he says, I didn't want to kill your dreams, so I tried to kill the ideas before it developed into dreams.
Yeah.
But I thought the message that I was talking about in the non-spoiler section was really about, like, there's a message about, like, really self-security and self-perception, because you could see him just doing well everywhere, right? Being on hits, but because he has this perception that he has to be this quote-unquote respectable artist, he kind of, like, forgoes all the accomplishments that he has worked for, and he tries to go to this different path and ends up like just becoming an alcoholic. It's really interesting because you see a lot of celebrities go to rehab, a lot of celebrities deal with pressure, and also just a lot of people in general in real life deal with pressure and succumb to it, so much so that we forget how much we've accomplished in the journey thus far.
Yeah. I mean, Weird Al is like the definition of just like harmless fun, and I love that this version of Weird Al is like this, obviously is like raging, like drunken, crazy, like version of him. But, this version of him especially wants to be recognized for something other than parody songs. He wants to write his own music and do original
stuff.
Take
it more seriously.
Yeah. And it's like, it kind of goes to show like what makes him special is that he's comfortable in his own skin and is doing what he loves, which he set out wanting to write parody songs and loves the accordion. And, that was nice, like not having to, just being comfortable in your own skin. And I think Weird Al his whole career is like defined by that.
I love how in the film how he writes himself as like being everyone loves his music and everyone like accepts him and thinks he is this great God-given gift except for his parents, and then of course the record deal who's like harshly like honest with him and just very much more exaggeration in real life, and how he gives up his career at the end to go work in a factory just to get his dad's acceptance. And
that also gives me very Hot Rod vibes, which I mean, very different movies, but I feel like it just gave me similar like comedy vibes. I mean, there's just like so many great classic gags in this. It's just a really fun movie.
Yeah, so I do criticize the film for, like I said, the Madonna part. I do feel like they could have done it a little better, where I understand it's a parody of like the industry and a little sexism and stuff like that. But I did think that it ended up kind of being, it just kept going to the point where like it felt like it was very unaware of the sexism that it was portraying. Because it wasn't like Madonna at the end, like she just stayed, selfish, and she stayed like being a user. And I think the reason, and maybe I'm projecting, but the reason why I felt like it was unaware is because Madonna is one of the most, I feel like whenever I listen to her interviews or her songs throughout history, she's always known for being like very herself and very free to be herself. She's been criticized for a lot for her dating life and for her sexuality and such things. And I didn't feel like it really like critiqued it in a satire way. It more so just played into it a little bit too much for me to think that it was done intentionally at the end. It was just more so like, oh yeah, we're gonna make Madonna this person because this is her perception and we're just gonna make it funny.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I'm not super aware of Madonna's career or anything, but I mean, there may be an element of not being totally self-aware in that aspect. Although, I mean, what I took from it is it came off to me as like stories about these bands. Like in the mythology, fans always create this villain who tears the band apart. There's Yoko Ono, with the Beatles, like she's the one who ruined everything. And it's like, to me, it was like, they're playing off that parody. Yeah, it's always a woman. So to me, it felt like it was like, oh, Madonna is the one who ruined him, and
but
they took it to such an exaggerated point where she takes over Pablo Escobar's, drug operation, then ends up assassinating him at the end,
Yeah, but I felt like because it kept like going further and further and further, that it was very much not done for like some kind of resolution or like a parody. It was obviously a parody, but it wasn't like they weren't critiquing anything, where I felt like they were in some other aspects, like when he goes back to the factory to work for his dad, like he wanted to, at the cost of his own mental health, that it was critiquing like the lack of love and acceptance that he felt, being accepted by one or two people in your life, or your family, means more than any awards. Maybe I'm like reading a little too deep into it.
No, I think it's fair. Yeah.
But like with Madonna, I just kind of felt like it was just all a joke. which I understand. Obviously, it's a parody, like I said.
And I do think movies, especially like big comedy movies like this, have to have, if you're going to sit through 90 minutes of it, you have to have more than just one joke. And maybe that's the thing with Madonna. It was just like hitting the same joke over and over.
Maybe.
There wasn't more depth there, and that was such a big part of the movie,
For me, it just felt like every other aspect of his life had some kind of deeper meaning except for the Madonna aspect. And I think that's why I'm like, I'm not really a big fan of that part.
All right.
Compared to everything else. I think that if there were more scenes where I didn't find like a hidden message, whether it's intentional or self-perception, I didn't find that with Madonna.
All right. Well, I mean, I will say as a criticism there, I think there were too many jokes maybe that were reliant on this is something famous or somebody famous that you may know. And to me, it's like this movie would do great, I feel like, with younger people and like high schoolers. I feel like I watched Hot Rod when I was, like in middle school or whatever, and that was very impactful. But like this, I feel like maybe there'd be a lot that would go over my head, if I were younger, that were just like references to bands and, celebrities that maybe wouldn't be as funny in that sense. It kind of relies on you knowing about these people in some sense. But I mean, there was a lot beyond that. Of course, it was still funny regardless of the references. But I do think there were at times it just felt like the references were what made it funny.
I can see that.
Anything else you want to add?
No.
Are you glad we watched it? All right.
I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, go check it out, especially if you can watch it for free, on Roku.
Make sure you have snacks. This is the type of movie that makes you hungry.
Well, with all the commercials, we were getting up and grabbing snacks. Too many snacks. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
And please let us know what else we should watch. We have some stuff on our list that we're going to be checking out soon, so keep up to date with that, and we'll see you around. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.